It's that nerd Ryan here, and it's been a while since we reviewed the Jojo manga. Um, Actually, what's funny is what popped up on my Facebook memories about a month ago was me starting Phantom Blood. So I didn't expect that would take a year to get all the way through part 3, considering that parts 1 and 2 are 3 to 4 books, but part 3 is 10 books long. So Stardust Crusaders is the longest part of JoJo's that I know of. Part 4 might be a little bit, or part 8 might be a little bit longer, I think I heard. But yeah, Stardust Crusaders is very long. It's 252 chapters, I believe. I might be off by a chapter or two. But yeah, it's 10 volumes, and it is very action-oriented. So first, let's talk about the protagonists. So, I mean, obviously people who've seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure know Stardust Crusaders. It's probably the most popular part. For our main JoJo, we have Jotaro Kujo, who is a half Japanese, half American 17-year-old who is kind of a juvenile delinquent in effect. He's very edgy, I'd like to say, and yeah, he's just really deep down has a heart of gold, but he's just edgy and kind of a jerk. Then we have a returning JoJo being Joseph Joestar, his grandfather, now in his 60s, I believe, if I did my math right. Yeah, he's Jotaro's grandfather, and he is still Joseph. He's still pretty much acts the same way, just is a little older and wiser. Another one is Noraki Kakyoin, who is kind of the first person that they recruit after the next person that we're going to talk about, but he's the first that they fully recruit, who was possessed by the main villain, or in a complicated sense, possessed by the main villain, and then came back, ends up kind of being the same age as Jotaro. Is a lot like Jotaro, but also is more friendly, a little bit more smarter, and like all around a good guy. We also have Muhammad Avdol, who is Joseph's companion. He is the one who's kind of understanding what the power scaling in this is and what basically is well-rounded with the world. He's from Egypt, which is where they're headed. And he basically is fully knowledgeable of what stands are, which we'll talk about stands in a second because we switched from Hamon to stands. Next, we also have Jean-Pierre Polnareff, who is a little bit older than the main crew. He is first off bent on revenge, and then wants to protect his friends after the revenge arc is done. He's from France, and he is a big dumb animal, ladies and gentlemen. He's just a big idiot, and everybody loves him. And then we have a later edition of Iggy, who is a dog. This type of dog, to be exact. I actually found this at my job. I was like, I have to get it because it looks exactly like Iggy. But yeah, Iggy's a dog that likes chewing coffee-flavored gum, farting on people's faces, and just being a jerk. And then for the villain, we have multitude of stand users, which we're not going to get into every single one, just kind of the important ones. And the main one being the return of Dio. Dio now has Jonathan's body and has unlocked stand power throughout the entire Joestar lineage, along with some other people. They don't get into full detail on how he did that until a later part, but we're focusing on Stardust Crusaders right now, so he somehow gave them stand powers. Sorry, it's going to be a lot of talking in this. But yeah, so the whole point is, or the whole new power system is stands. Stands are the embodiment of your fighting spirit. They are called stands because they stand behind you in battle. And in this season, or in this part, the first half are named after tarot cards. The second half are named after Egyptian gods, except for one, which is named after a band. And then we get Dio's stand, which is also a tarot card. So basically what happens is the Joestars unlock their stand power. Joseph's is Hermit Purple, which is kind of a weak stand. It just allows spirit photography and kind of being Spider-Man, which just by like using vines and stuff. Jotaro's is Star Platinum, which is very fast at punching, precision, and adaptability. It's technically probably the strongest stand kind of ever, debatably. It's also a very basic stand when you think about it. They unlock those powers. Dio unlocks his, which is the world, which nobody knows what it does until they fight him. But he also gets to use Jonathan's stand, the Passion. We also have Jotaro's mother, who is Holly, who she ends up getting powers as well. But her powers are killing her. So really kind of everybody was like, okay, maybe we should deal with Dio. It's like he's back. That's kind of a bad thing, but it's not urgent. But Holly starts dying and they realize they only have 50 days to defeat Dio. So they travel from Japan to Egypt, or they plan to travel from Japan to Egypt to fight Dio and save Holly, who is Jotaro's mother. The first day back after all this is going on, Kakyoin attacks Jotaro with his stand, Hierophant Green, which launches stuff and has has a 20-foot radius and is able to basically expand itself and everything. It's technically considered a weaker stand, but it can do a lot of stuff. They find out that he's possessed, though, so they bring him back on his side. With that, they begin traveling, where they fight Jean-Pierre Polnareff, who ends up actually being possessed as well with his stand, Silver Chariot, which is like a fencing version of Star Platinum, basically. But yeah, they have him join the team too. And as they continue going on, they fight other stand users and get roadblocks put in the way until they reach Egypt. This is the turning point. This is about halfway through the book series. I know I glanced over a lot of stuff. In that, just really quickly, Polnareff wants to avenge his sister's death by fighting one stand user named Centerfold. They end up fighting. He beats Centerfold, but Abdul is believed to be dead. So Polnareff kind of is guilty about that. After that, they go off and continue their journey. They meet Whole Horse, who is an enemy stand user, but he's a reoccurring one as they fight Centerfold, and he kind of just reoccurs with it. But once they get to Egypt and they believe all the stand users are defeated except for Dio, 9 more are introduced who are named after different Egyptian gods. They also meet Iggy at this point. Their first fight with Iggy is against Nodul. They also, I did forget to mention before that, they do re-recruit Abdul, who healed. He basically, how Whole Horse's Stand the Empress works is it's a gun. So he tries to shoot Abdul, and it looks like it hits him in the head, but it actually ends up grazing him, so he survived. It's a stretch. But anyway, so they get to Egypt, they fight Nodul. Kakyoin is blinded, but Jotaro throws Iggy to Nodul, and ends up beating him that way. They continue on, and they spend time looking in Egypt for Dio. They meet the other stand users. Some are passable, but you got like the Darby brothers, the older one whose stand is used with gambling, the younger one, as they get to Dio's mansion, who is using video games. Iggy has his own fight with a stand that is a hawk, or a stand user that's a hawk named Pet Shop, and other stuff like that. They get Kakyoin back and they enter Dio's mansion. As I said, they fight the younger Darby brother, and they also fight Vanilla Ice. Not the rapper Vanilla Ice, a character named Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice ends up killing Avdol and Iggy and mortally wounding Polnareff, who goes up to fight Dio and starts seeing weird things happen whenever somebody's around Dio. Dio escapes that fight and ends up fighting basically everyone. He ends up killing Kakyoin by making him a donut, and he ends up basically killing Joseph. So all that's left is Polnareff, who's heading away, and Jotaro. Jotaro begins to fight Dio, where they kind of reveal through Kakyoin's death that Dio's power with the world is to stop time. So Jotaro slowly during the fight learns how to stop time and tricks Dio into thinking like he's dead and stuff like that. Polnareff tries to put in one final fight, but is almost killed, if not for Jotaro doing something to distract Dio. Towards the end of it, Dio ends up sucking all the blood out of Joseph, giving him full power, but also giving Jotaro enough time to figure out how to fully stop time. So as Dio's about to put in the finishing blow, the second before he does so, Jotaro stops time, gets behind Dio, and beats him. He also is able to use Dio's blood to bring Joseph back to life, and they all head back home, Holly surviving. So yeah, the explanation is long, and that's excluding all the different stand users. There are a lot in it. I would cover each and every one. Maybe that would be for a different video. But this is very Monster of the Week, and from what I heard, that's what the editing company wanted, was a Monster of the Week deal where they would have to fight a bunch of stand users, basically go through a gauntlet. It does kind of affect the story to a fact that, like, there are goofy moments and, like, moments of, like, character development and stuff like that, but you never get, like, a chance to breathe without them having to fight somebody, which does hurt it. I mean, it's they take the whole 50 days to get there, and it feels like almost every day they're fighting a stand user, which is unbelievable and tough. It wouldn't actually work out that way, considering I think there is only about 21, maybe 22 stand users that they fought, because I think it's 13 then 9. But yeah, so doing that, it did feel like almost every day they were fighting a stand user. There are funny, hilarious, memeable, iconic moments throughout all Stardust Crusaders. That's why this one's kind of considered the part that put it on the map. But yeah, there's just so many iconic moments and everything, and just makes it really, really fun and enjoyable, but also makes it feel grueling just for the fact that there's about 9 months worth of chapters if you're reading one chapter a day. Now to compare it to the anime. The anime did almost a fully perfect adaptation of the manga, almost frame by frame. They did leave out one of the most famous parts of the "You're Approaching Me" panel, but they also added things on there. They added a lot more about Holly, which is kind of funny because in the manga, Holly is almost never mentioned after they leave until closer to the end, which I find very ironic, because it's like the whole reason why they're kind of going after Dio is to save Holly, and it's almost never mentioned. The anime does a good job of kind of every now and then going back and checking in on Holly, checking in on Susie Q, stuff like that. While this one's just like, oh yeah, Mom's sick. Alright, yeah, let's go fight Dio. And then like 25 days later, yeah, we're still going to fight Dio. It's almost like I can't remember why though. And then way at the end, oh yeah, we're fighting to save my mom. How is she? Like that kind of thing. But yeah, so they added that. They added in some stuff about like the 9 assassins that Dio recruited, and added some little things on. They also redid how the time skip introduction scene was, because it was originally introduced right before Dio killed Kakyoin in the manga, and then in the anime they basically skipped that part to where you're at the point of view of like Kakyoin and Joseph. I'm sorry, let me reverse that. In the manga they skipped it to basically, okay, Kakyoin's dead. And then in the anime it shows kind of the time skip working. It's one of the ways, I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but that is how it worked. But yeah, so Stardust Crusaders originally was my second favorite part. Reading it kind of pegged it down a little bit, but I still really enjoyed it. I am going to give it a 6 out of 10. No, I'm not. 7 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan, signing off.